Hello, my name is Michael Valia, and this is a speech about myself. To start, I am a 29-year-old man from Miami, Florida. I don't have a whole lot of interests, to be honest, but the few interests that I do have, I would describe as passions. To start, my interests would include sports, fitness, and plants. Yes, I said plants. And I'll have to include, even though I don't consider them interests, I'll have to include school and work in that as well, considering that I spend a lot of time between the two. First, let's start with business. I'm currently employed as emergency department technician in a local emergency room. Essentially, I do the nurse's job without the medication and charting. Um, I have to admit that currently, with the current pandemic that's taking place, things have been a little rough. Overall, I have gained a valuable amount of experience that's going to help me out tremendously in my nursing career. Speaking of that nursing career, we'll go on to school. Again, with the way things have been with the pandemic, it's been a little different than usual. But regardless, I prefer online classes to being in person anyway. So it hasn't been a huge transition for me. The biggest transition is things as simple as going to a Starbucks to study for class aren't as simple anymore. Now we'll talk about the fun stuff, my interest. My biggest interest currently with the pandemic has been plants. Usually, I would say that my biggest interest was fitness, but currently with the pandemic and my two favorite gyms closing down, it's been a little difficult to maintain the same fitness that I'm used to. So I would say plants has elevated themselves as my main interest. And I have become a legitimate plant parent over the past little over a year now, with about 12 plants in my room alone and over 20 plus outside. And my plants range anywhere from a tiny Venus flytrap that I can hold in my hand to a 20-foot mango tree in my backyard. What I find very interesting about plants is learning about their different needs. You know, for example, I have a Venus flytrap that stays outside because it needs humidity, but remains in a bowl of water so that it doesn't dry out. Meanwhile, I have a plant called a ZZ plant that it's in a very dark corner, and I haven't watered it in over a month because it just doesn't need a lot of water. And as you can tell, those are two very different needs, and everything ranges in between that, from plants that need more light but not direct sunlight to plants that need more water than once a month but not, every day, like a Venus flytrap will need to stay in a bowl of water. I also find it very relaxing to take care of the plants. Next, we'll talk about fitness, which has been a major interest of mine for as long as I can remember. From my childhood in gymnastics and karate, to high school being a football player and a wrestler, to even now doing yoga and lifting weights. Fitness has also been a way of relaxation for me. When I put on my headphones and just kind of tune the world out, just trying to forget about everything else that's happening. It's just between me and the weights, or me and yoga, and I can just focus on myself and tune everything out for a moment. And last but not least, we have sports. I mean, even as I was writing this, I was trying to consider what I was going to eat for the Super Bowl. As you can tell, was this Sunday. Sports have always been a major interest of mine. If I'm not at work or at school or taking care of my plants or working out, chances are I'm watching some type of sport, even if it's a rerun, or an old fight or something like that. There's usually something I can watch and something I'll be paying attention to. So to sum it up, I would say that I have few but very passionate interests. I have my plants have become my main interest, but fitness is a very close second. That before this pandemic year, I probably would describe as my main interest. And of course, sports has been a pastime. My father got me into it, and I've been a sports fan as long as I can remember, and that's always something that's going to be within me. So that's my speech. Thank you so much. Bye.